Welcome, everybody, to episode 201 of The China Show.
Yes. Do you want me to say something?
I do.
We have an action-packed, awesome episode. Actually, believe it or not, we do.
Yes.
It's probably one of the best balance, full of information and fun today, I'd say. This is a good episode, for sure.
Well, we're going to start out with, of course, you've seen the thumbnail. You're probably curious, like, is this actually something that happened? And yes, this is probably the most epic clip I've seen come out of China this year.
Before you play it,
right,
I would go hazard a guess that you've probably seen channels that would do something of this ilk, and it has nothing to do with it. It's like just pure clickbait. This is the opposite of clickbait. We're going to show you exactly what is in the title right now.
Yeah, exactly. Now, bear in mind, this is the original audio from it as well. Okay, I'll just get us out of here, okay? And let's play the little clip for everybody. Let's do it. Play.
Sorry. The zooms.
Wow.
Sorry.
So good.
Yeah.
Rick.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not good. Even focus on the fire.
I know. Here's the thing, though, okay?
I have a couple things to say. You go first.
Never mind what's actually going on here, because we'll explain what's going on here, but if I ever go to hell, this is exactly what I imagine I'm going to see. It's like you get thrust into the depths of hell, and you see some eyes dancing in front of just this inferno.
That is insanity. But
really
let me
is.
go back to the front. We're playing this front to back because I got to explain a couple things to you. I want to explain why this is wildly inappropriate.
Sure.
First of all, there are massive fires in Guizhou right
Yeah,
now.
Guizhou. Apparently, the person that I got this clip from, who sent me this clip, said that fire had been raging for 12 days. Okay. Now, of course, according to state media, the fires have all been put out now, but there were something like 220 plus forest fires and wildfires in Guizhou right now, because they're currently experiencing drought. But get this.
Okay.
221 plus fires, thousands of whatever hectares of forest all burning, and like this crazy burning thing going on. How many dead people do you think the Chinese government reported?
2.
Yes. 2.
Yes.
So
not laughing at dead people, laughing at the lack of reporting. It's unbelievable.
Weeks of wildfires. You see they're burning right next to people's houses here. Yeah. They're burning all over the Guizhou countryside, where there are lots of villagers who live out in the middle of nowhere. But according to state media, only 2 people died, and they were both firefighters bravely fighting the flames.
Do you know why there are elderly women dancing in front of these fires right now? Because the government goes on the news, which there is only state media in China. Remember, there is no private reporting, and tells everyone that everything is completely fine. It's under control. Don't panic. There's nothing to worry about.
Go about your daily life.
So, of course, people that only consume that, they can look at the fire and they'll be like, well, party on as usual, because the government said everything is totally fine.
That, and you're also talking about eyes, who, by the way, do not ever fear the Chinese military. Fear the Chinese eyes.
Yes.
They are an unstoppable force of nature.
Yes.
Literally, you can see it right here. The entire city looks like it's on fire, and they don't give a damn. They'll keep dancing.
They don't care. And the best part about this, remember, these are elderly women in China. They are basically a gang.
Yes.
If you walk by them, give them the wrong look, or you try to do something in their area, they will kick your ass.
Yes.
And they always listen to dystopian, sad, negative-sounding techno music. It's unreal.
Yes.
And that soundtrack with those tinny speakers...
Yeah.
Set to the forest fire in the background it's a perfect image of hell. I'd say the 6th circle.
Yes.
Not quite 7th, but 6th.
Yes. This.
If you've been to China, you know these eyes.
Yeah, you do.
It's so dystopian.
It really is. It's pretty epic.
Wow, so good.
Rick, again.
Yeah, exactly.
You just can't help it.
I've mentioned this so many times on the show, but those eyes are such a menace for local Chinese people as well, obviously. There was that one guy who lived like in a building and there was a square and they kept blasting it like middle of the night really loud. And he bought riot control speakers that he mounted on his balcony. You know, like they use it really incredibly loud, and he blasted it to try and chase them away. They just turned their music up. They didn't even move.
Because it turns out they use riot control stuff to play
They just
their
don't
music.
care. They have no hearing. That's why it's so loud.
Put your hands up in the air.
Yeah,
Put your hands up.
So yeah,
It's crazy.
this was a big deal. This has kind of been very downplayed in
It has.
Chinese media. I've been trying to find more information about it because, like I said, the person who sent me that clip told me that that fire had been burning for 12 days. I'm not finding that in Chinese media, and international coverage, there is none.
Yeah,
So-
well, nothing was allowed to get out. I think
Yeah. And Guizhou is very cut off. It's such a
Yes.
poor province, you know?
if I was to give you like an update on how much stuff's coming out of China, it's so much less than even a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And China's just got such a good stranglehold on how much information gets out now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So anyway, by the way, we are in What's New. Did I
Yes.
mention that? Where we talk about what's new in China, specifically with regards to China?
Well,
Because it's in China?
now you have.
Yes. Okay. So there's a trend going on, which started a while ago. It started about 4 years ago, this tornado beer thing. But I'd like you to see, you can go to a restaurant and they have beer girls. Now, beer girls have been around for the longest time. Heck, I even married one back in the day. Okay, this is what they do. They dress up in a certain uniform and they bring beer to the table and so on. However,
I'm glad you only married one.
yeah, you know, don't
Not
have that
more
much,
than one. You're
don't have
not
that
a
much time,
polygamist.
you know, in your lifetime, you know.
Yeah.
But I'd like you to pay attention that they're live streaming it as well. So it's all part of the business. There's like a live streaming camera.
That's right.
But show you the kind of performance. You go to these restaurants and this is what you can get. Just take a look. I'll get myself out of here.
Did you see that saucy uncle?
I saw the sauce. That's why I zoomed it. Saucy uncle walks past. And,
What is he doing? Put your hands away. Put your hands up in the air rather than slap one of the girls.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
Dude, Shabby Chadwell says chugging methanol spiked beer is a bad idea, kids.
yeah.
Lots of fake beer in China.
Yeah, exactly. Look, this whole chugging beer thing's kind of disturbing. I love beer. It's Friday, guys. Let's celebrate, all right? Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's have some beer. But the idea of doing that tornado swirl is just a nightmare to me.
Oh, yeah.
Can you just imagine? And it's
I'm not
this
in
guy's
college anymore.
Yeah, it's this guy's fault, by the way.
It's his fault. Well, to be fair, I saw all over China pre this.
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, but it's his fault. He made it popular
He
on
did.
social. He became. He's a mad famous. He's got his own. He's got a streaming channel where he literally sits and chugs random alcohol in disgusting ways, and you know, like
does.
shoves his face full of gross food, and he
Yeah.
just sits there and like. Wah. Anyway, so you can take a look. Let's see him do this whole thing because this is what started this in China.
Wait.
I'll explain.
Wait. Can we go back to man? I got a quick story.
You got a story of
Yeah,
man?
Tornado Man.
Okay.
One time I was on a slow train with a guy
Yeah.
that was about this build. He was a huge guy, but he was
Yeah,
he was-
he's a Dongbei
He's a
guy.
Dongbei guy. This guy I was
Which is,
sitting with was
you
a
know-
Hui Muslim guy.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be
Northeast.
drinking
Oh,
alcohol.
he shouldn't be.
But he was going nuts, and he did this. He did
Yeah.
this. This was one of the first instances I saw this. It was back in like 2012.
Yeah.
But I think he was only 20 or something. He was tornadoing beers on this train like it was his job. I mean, he probably put down 15 in an hour.
This whole tornado beer thing really disturbs me though. Because
Why? I mean, I don't want to do it.
It makes me want to puke.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because like
yeah.
it's just all that gas. You don't get to
Yes.
enjoy it, right?
No.
Because drinking beer is an enjoyable thing to me. I enjoy drinking it. I don't want to
Yes.
like. If I want to do just ingest alcohol quickly, I'd choose a spirit or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
No, I'm just saying if
Yeah.
I wanted to just for the
get
sake
it
of
down.
just for the sake of getting drunk, drink
Yeah, that's a
something
good
quickly,
point.
I'd take shots or something. I wouldn't be.
Well, he does do that, by the way, on these live
Yeah,
streams.
he takes shots
drinks-
and tornadoes beer.
You say shots, more like bowls.
Yeah,
He drinks whole bowls full of 60% alcohol.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And lights cigarettes with it and stuff. Anyway.
Oh, why didn't you show that?
Yeah, I forgot to put it in.
lighting the cigarette?
Yeah, next time I'll show
I'll
it.
explain it real quick. He has a bowl of alcohol. He lights it on fire before he drinks it.
Yeah.
Dips his finger in the flame, gets the alcohol on, and then lights a cigarette with it. It's pretty epic.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, so the fact is he started this about 4 years ago, and then now it's become a thing where, like you saw the beer girls in the restaurants do it as entertainment.
Yeah.
Poor girls. I mean, that must be horrible to do that.
Yeah, because this guy's at least huge, right? He can definitely slug some beers down.
yeah.
Imagine being a small build and you have to tornado these beers.
Yeah, just the whole idea of tornadoing beers is lame to me.
Don't tornado anything. Keep it, do that science experiment where you have the thing like this, and the 2-liter bottle goes into the other one. That's fine.
Sure.
Don't drink it.
Yeah, don't drink it. Okay, anyway, so you may have seen another weird clip pop up there, and I
Yes.
will explain it. In fact, we're
Okay,
going to
please
explain it
do.
now. It's Friday, guys.
Get a little spray going.
Yeah.
Make sure your beer is legitimate, not fake.
Yep.
We have drank fake beer in China and almost died.
Yes.
That is loud, by the way.
Yes.
What are you doing?
That's one thing I wanted to show you here. You might be wondering what is going on here.
Yes, well, I'll explain it. There's a phenomenon.
Yeah, first, before you even explain it, this is a legitimate advert
Yes.
put out by the South China Morning Post for this new thing that's happening in China.
They use footage from a Chinese news outlet for their own report.
Correct.
They didn't film it. So
Yeah.
China put this out
Yes.
as an advert
Yeah.
for their movie theater. Now, there's a phenomenon going on, and I think it's a bit of a forced phenomenon. I can only find a few instances
I think
of
it's
this.
only this one cinema.
I found two.
Okay.
I found two. Now, what they're doing is just wait. Leave it.
Okay, wait. Well, catch a movie.
Yes, you go into a movie theater and you get served a meal. Now, you've probably heard of this in a luxury movie theater, but in this specific one, you get a hot pot.
You get
personal hot pot. Now, could you think of a better location than a dark movie theater to sit down with a boiling pot of oil and broth to dip meats into it as you watch?
I know.
Imagine you bump it and all over the
it's
person
bad.
in front of you.
It's so bad. Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
It's a
right?
dumb idea.
So the craziest thing about this is, number one, they already thought of all the complaints that people might have, so they addressed it in the report, and they said something like, I think you'll probably have this in later, but it's like they use less smelly broths, and
Yeah.
like they have smaller pots or something.
Yeah,
so
and they're
it's
like,
not
oh,
as
and
distracting.
the fire inspector said it's okay. Anyway, the fact is, when I'm looking at this, I was like, what movie are they watching?
What are they watching?
And it reminded me of something,
did.
dear to our hearts. So apparently,
Legitimately.
yeah, legitimately, apparently in China, it's very popular to show people crucified with rope.
It is such a
It's a
thing.
trope.
Winston and I found this clip of "Ru Ni Men Yang," which means "F your mom," basically, and it's a Chinese
Yeah, I
soldier.
effed your mom.
Yeah, and that's his last words.
Yeah, then-
before he gets blown up by a Japanese tank.
Yes.
And he's crucified while roped,
Yes.
and he gets blown up. We have a soundbite for it. We play it all the time.
This
and
one, yeah.
it's, as you say, the greatest representation of no you.
No, you.
That has ever existed. But here's the
Exactly.
deal.
Yeah.
It apparently is a genre of movie.
Yeah.
Because the South China Morning Post footage they got from this Chinese website shows a crucified, roped man,
Yes.
presumably saying something.
And he's probably about to be shot by a tank, hopefully, anyway.
What
Put him out of his misery. Yeah.
Why is this a genre of film?
Yeah, they love to copy, so they're just copying themselves. Anyway, let's move on. In fact, they're copying Jesus, so.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Poorly.
It says, catch a movie. And I want you to look at the smoke rising in front of the screen.
The steam.
The steam, sorry, yeah, okay, steam, smoke, whatever you want to call it. It's steam and not smoke, but yeah.
I hope it's not
That's-
smoke.
That's right there, for me, is a reason not to have this. Because when you're sitting and having hot pot, there's going to be a lot of steam rising up.
There is.
Okay, and it's
Is
going to
it-
get in your way.
But is it worse than cigarettes? Because multiple times in the movie theater in China, people started smoking cigarettes.
No, it's not worse than that. Anyway, so the whole thing is they're like, catch a movie. What while enjoying simmering hot pot.
This is the worst idea.
It's so dumb. It's cheap. $26,
Yeah, it's cheap.
188 yuan.
It's it's going to be the worst quality stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, it includes fresh seafoods, beef, and vegetables.
It's hard to see what's going on
Yeah,
here.
diners will have to pay
What is this?
for
I can't see through the
their
steam.
movie tickets.
It's really steaming up in here, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's hard to see anything.
This is such a dumb idea, isn't it? Yeah, there are also lamps on each desk.
That's what I want to see is a bunch of lamps.
Yeah.
Instead of the theater. This is the stupidest thing I've ever
come
seen.
on, man. Stop with the hot pot. Couldn't see a damn thing. Anyway.
Pretty good, dude.
Gotta like,
We're on a freaking roll here, guys.
Hope so, yeah.
This is a funny episode, I
hope
promise.
so, yeah. So anyway, we all know the People's Legit Army. Now, it's Friday.
Sauna theater.
Yeah, it is. It's Friday, guys. It's time to relax. People's Legit Army is they're taking a break from the boy band thing.
Oh.
They're bringing in the techno.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a
I get
techno
on board
edition.
with that.
Yeah, let's take a look.
see one of their new-
Yeah.
A familiar song.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that was great.
That was good. So
It was
good.
great. Not as good as taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the last 2 years, we've been drinking AG1 every day. No exceptions. It's just one scoop mixed with water once a day, every day. And it makes me feel energized, focused, nourished. We originally wanted to start drinking AG1, and that is because I was having trouble with my sleep schedule. It literally put me on the right path. You were having trouble with brain fog.
Yep.
Not brain steam.
No, brain fog.
Oh, you have some right there.
Yeah.
AG1.
I'm being one with the AG.
Nice. With AG1, I know I'm getting essential brain, gut, and immune health support with vitamins, probiotics, and nutrients from whole foods. And the great thing about it is we've noticed a huge improvement in our life, fixing the problems that we had originally.
Yeah,
I absolutely
helps.
love AG1. If there's one product that I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why we partnered with them for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1, try AG1, and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/ADV. That's drinkag1.com/ADV. Check it out. I promise you won't regret it, and we absolutely love working with AG1 Athletic Greens.
That is correct. And guys, now we're going to be moving on to our main segment, which of course is the Soft Power Hour. This is where we talk about how China's trying to change your mind. Now, we've got an interesting Soft Power Hour here today. We're actually going to include the Beyond the Firewall in this segment.
This is a great setup. And it's legitimately tied to it.
It's 100%. So let's take a look over here. Beyond the Great Firewall.
This is where we show you things that you might not understand because of the language barrier on the Chinese internet, which is sometimes blocked from the rest of the world from seeing anyway.
Yeah.
And something I noticed, I picked up on, was a crazy popular feel-good / also dual-purpose propaganda trend that I've been seeing across the Chinese internet. Now, some of these videos had 10 to 100 million views.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, wow.
This one was over 100 million
Something
views,
like that. It was nuts. And the theme, the general theme, before we show this to you, what we've noticed is that it shows a legitimate kind of poor, ramshackle life, maybe in the countryside or something. And then abruptly turns into a wealthy, prosperous life, right? Mm-hmm. It shows normal people. And then all of a sudden, normal people like being middle class in China, which is probably like less than $1,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
Transforming into some sort of beautiful wealth where they have nice cars and nice things, nice jewelry and stuff. But there's a couple features I want you guys to look out for.
Yeah.
There's always a child introduced into the positive scenario. We know that China's been trying to promote birth.
Yes.
Trying to promote people having families. Trying to promote this idea that life is better than it was before, so don't get caught up in this idea that things in the economy
the economy is a downturn, yeah.
So I'd like to look at a couple examples. We'll explain it even more.
Yeah, let's just take a look. It's better if you just see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Hello. So basically,
Banger song.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah. It's like
I want to. If anyone knows what that song is, please tell me.
Yeah, it's
I
Ain't
like
No
it.
Holler Back Girl Chinese edition.
It's kind of. Yeah.
Anyway, she's like got grilled corn or something. And she's like, come eat the corn with me in their little mianbaoche. You know, they're obviously poor, and this is what they do. They run a beef shop or something.
That's
Oh, look, the car changed to a Mercedes. So I'll go back to that quickly.
Yeah, please. That little transition.
So, you know, it's all like, oh, we're poor. We're just like, you know, we're doing the hard work. We're living the hard life kind of thing. And then, bam. Wow, now we have a Mercedes with a very worn seat, by the way. And a kid. And now my wife's all pretty all dressed up and we're rich now.
Yeah. But notice the kid. Like, that is actually really, really important because this was pervasive throughout the entire trend.
Yeah.
And we found examples of this where it was a little more blatant. But this is kind of the one that kicked it all off.
Yeah.
And it could be a legitimate trend, but there's so many elements that are right in line with what the Chinese government's trying to do right now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. The song
Ain't No Holler Back Girl.
Chinese ain't no holler back girl.
And see, what is it now?
It's so on the nose.
This is a different person, but they're eating like instant noodles in a cheap mianbaoche, which is a bread van, is what it's called, because it looks like a little.
It's like
piece
the
of
cheapest
bread.
car you can buy.
Yeah, they're cheap and they're synonymous with very low end, workers and so on. You know, they have to transport things around like in these things.
This person just did the exact same video.
Yes.
He just copied the original.
You'd think it's the same people, but they're not.
It's not. No, it's just a totally different clip.
What's the car gonna be?
Oh, it's
Look,
also
it's also a Mercedes, but look, it's got a red car seat.
Ooh, this one's nice. Looks nicer.
No kid in this one.
But she's still got the instant noodles. Did you notice
Yeah,
that?
she's still got the instant noodles, like sticking to her humble roots.
Yes.
Yeah, but she's all dolled up now.
Why does this guy keep impregnating women in vans? Well, K-Fax, these are different people.
Yeah. Look,
This one's a different theme.
Yeah.
This one is all about, look at the door, right? Go back to that real quick.
Yeah, and it's also 2018, it's basically showing how life improves.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, the government is fighting and punishing people right now for talking about how the economy has been going down.
And the unemployment is so high.
Yes, keep that in mind as you watch these because these videos show a progression of how things are actually better. So don't think about those economic downturns.
The thing is, if you were to take the dates like 2018, 2019, things were definitely not as bad as they are now. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but let's see how far it gets.
nose.
So 2018, it's opening up a little, no furniture.
Middle door.
Oh, 2020, it's like fancy.
Now it's this really
2022,
swing door.
yeah. And then 2024. Wow, look at this like
This luxurious house.
kids running there.
And it's always like there's always a child,
Yes.
right? Because it's like we're so prosperous now and life is fine.
Yeah.
You should have kids.
And we have kids. This is the dream. This is what you have to aspire to. Is this?
It's very veiled, isn't it?
It's not veiled at all.
No, I'm saying because like it's legitimate
Yeah.
organic content. A lot of times these people are not doing anything for propaganda, but it's very in line with stuff that takes off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's take a look. Let's
Chicken
feed some
farmer.
chickens, you know. Let's open up our door. Oh, look, it's looking nice. There's a kid now.
Yeah. Every time
Yeah, wow.
the door is improved, see?
Yeah, let's open up our
A
door.
new door.
I hate when they don't
Open
peel
the
that
door.
plastic off.
I know.
Oh, look. Oh, grown-up kid. Awesome wife. Better.
Better situation.
Did he try to unlock her there?
I think he had something in his hand. Okay. He tried to unlock his
Yeah.
life. It's like a life hack.
Oh, look, suddenly it's like, whoosh, look at
Now
what I'm
it's a
walking into
swish-
now.
Super swish door now.
Yeah,
Open
now
the
it's like
door.
a huge fancy apartment. This is very unrealistic, by the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why these go viral, right?
Yeah.
This is idealistic. The average Chinese person doesn't get to have a situation like this,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's almost, remember we talked about this before, and I think this is actually important. Maybe show that room there, that nice
You don't want to
room.
watch this like dry noodle eating woman?
I don't yet.
Oh, you
do
don't.
soon.
You just don't enjoy the dry noodle eating.
I will soon.
Okay, you want this fancy room?
Yeah, so remember this. Somebody actually asked this question, it always stuck with me. They said, don't Chinese people see that their situation is getting worse or the economy is going down. And the point about this is that the way the algorithm works and the way that China puts propaganda out, they make it look like everyone else is having a utopian, idealistic life.
Yeah.
And so instead of you using like a Western or an American mentality to say, something's wrong here, right? Like, I should have the same thing as those people. This is something's off. The average person is conditioned now because of propaganda to think their situation is a unique one. They're poor.
Yeah.
Everyone else is doing great.
Yeah, China's doing great. Look at they're launching shuttles into space or
Yes.
whatever. We've got things on the moon. The Chinese economy is amazing. Everything's great. I'm just in a bad situation.
It must be my fault.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It
my
must
little
be
circle.
my problem,
Yeah.
right? Everyone else is great. China's super rich. If you go to the countryside and you talk to someone that's earning a couple $100s a month, as we did,
Yeah.
they see the rest of China, and they can be very nationalistic and very happy with their country, but they live a really terrible life where
Yes.
they don't get any subsidies from the government. They don't get welfare. They don't get health care. Because remember, China doesn't offer those
No,
things.
it doesn't.
When you ask those people how their country is doing, they'll say, wow, in the big cities, everyone's so rich. Everyone's doing great. Everything's amazing in China. And the disconnect is there because all they watch is CCTV
state
or,
TV.
or state TV,
Yeah, exactly.
right? So that's why people aren't getting mad when they see stuff like this.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm curious about the dry noodles.
You love this dry noodle.
By the way, I mean, dry noodles are a cool snack.
I don't like it.
I mean, I don't like that. She's literally eating a dry noodle cake.
People do that.
Yeah,
people
but-
do that in Korea as well.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the dry noodle snacks usually have powder that you put on them. That's just plain.
Well, you can sprinkle it on the top.
Yeah, but she's not, though. She's literally just...
You know why? Because it's a fake ass.
I know,
video.
it's fake, and it's
You're
it's
trying
supposed...
to commentate.
No, exactly. They're supposed to... I'm trying to prove a point here. They're trying to paint this as very bleak.
Yes.
Look, I'm so poor, I have to eat unflavored, dry, instant noodles.
That's, yeah.
Okay.
Again, copying the whole instant noodle thing from the other
Yeah, exactly.
要不要来一个？
It's just
Oh,
like,
do you want to
some-
have a bite, huh?
Yeah.
Life or easy go. Yeah. No, I'm just gonna put this random vegetable.
I love that setup. It's like I
Yes.
have this bin. I'm gonna slowly put a nap of cabbage in it.
Yeah, because that's what we do.
And they have like a tricycle basically.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
Open it up. What is
the
it?
door, it's a
It's a Mercedes.
Why is it a Mercedes every time?
That's
Do you notice that? It's like they can't deviate from the creative.
That's the thing. Like, I think most places in the world, a Mercedes is seen as wealth.
Yeah, it's just so it's on the nose every time.
It's a
like-
luxury car.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you were to compare BMW and Mercedes, Mercedes is the more wealthier image.
Yeah, it's got that kind of.
It's more
austere-
luxurious.
Yeah,
BMW is
luxurious,
more about
sporty and
performance.
stuff.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
true.
So if you're gonna do it, you may as well.
Yeah.
I like how they probably just actually went and harassed some poor farmer or something who actually uses that trike, and they were like, "Hey, we want to just use this trike for a bit to shoot a stupid thing."
Maybe they paid him.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Maybe they paid
Hopefully
him.
they did.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's like cosplaying as poor, though, isn't it? It's
This
kind of
is-
lame.
Is this low key a Mercedes ad?
I mean, maybe.
要不要来一个？你先说。
Anyway, you get the idea for this specific trend.
Yeah.
The song rules, by the way. Ain't no Hella Back Girl China version. Can you
Yeah.
please find it, guys? Find
Yeah.
the song.
Yeah,
I didn't think to look it up.
no.
But again, a new kid. Oh, look at how much we actually have. Okay, so pause it there real quick. What I was seeing
Yeah.
in some of the other ones, because some of these were 5 minutes long,
Yeah.
right, and there are big analyses of the whole thing. Yeah. One thing I would see is that someone would be way more direct about it, and it would say, "Be happy with what you have.
Yes.
You have more than you think, right? You can have a family. If you have a family, you have the equivalent of 10,000 teals of gold, right?
Sure,
It's like
sure.
that kind of thing."
Hey,
And
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I think it's a positive message. I think it's good to have a family.
I think
But this is a fake.
I think that there's nothing, well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with this trend.
No.
But I think it's indicative of something that the government really wants to push right now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's fake because right now, especially the younger generation, do not want to have children.
No.
Because China is one of the most expensive countries in the world to raise a child.
Yeah.
It really is. It ranks all the way up there. If you're in an urban center in
Yeah.
China, to raise a child costs so much money. And
To
most
get a
people
house,
can't
to get-
afford it.
Yeah.
They can't.
No.
Right? So many younger Chinese people don't want to have kids.
No.
And so this is obviously a big pushback against that.
It is.
Try to show people, have kids, guys, have
Again,
kids.
keep playing. But again, this could be, many of these are completely organic. They're jumping on a trend.
Yeah.
But like, this is really feel good. Like, I'm not against these videos.
No,
this
no.
is really nice. She goes and sees her dad in his hometown, smiley old man. He's in this really ramshackle place, probably legitimately where they lived, right? A lot of China's like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Either that, or they just went to their hometown in the countryside for New Year.
For
and
New
they're
Year.
like, hey, let's film this. Hey,
But
Lao Ba.
this is representative of probably how they grew up.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen this everywhere.
Yeah, and this is how people still live, right?
Hey, Lao Ba is now he's recycling like bottles.
A lot of old people do that for extra money.
Yep. Dude, they do that even when they're rich, though.
Yes. Yes.
买的衣服和鞋子。
Bought some clothes and
Oh,
shoes
look,
for
now
him.
look, the door's different. Now it's made out of tread plate rather than wood.
Before it was wood.
Yeah.
I like the wood.
Yeah, tread plate's not very good for a door.
No.
It's just a bit lame.
But it's an upgrade because it's metal.
True, true.
爸，
Opens the door and he's stacking
呀，
some
那不
wood.
开空调哎。
So then what we can see is
Oh.
now the big upgrade.
Yeah,
right?
now it's all fancy.
They love these digital door things.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely a trend.
Dude, that is one of the tackiest entrances I've ever seen. Peacocks, okay? Freaking peacocks.
Are you trying to say? Are you trying to tell me a real stuffed
No,
peacock
not
is
just
not?
one, okay? There's two of them. Take a look. There's one on each side.
I think your taste is bad because two facing peacocks in your living room is one of the most beautiful things you could ever put
with like
there.
an etched glass of a butterfly or something with fake flowers. I think that's one of the tackiest entrances I've seen in my life.
One time I went to this.
Is this Liberace's house?
I was in this.
What?
I was in this woman's house, right?
Yeah.
And we were all there, and no one batted an eyelid at this. No, my wife didn't say anything. No one said anything, but I just noticed this massive golden eagle. It was huge.
Yeah.
A giant statue, just like this, but way bigger.
Okay.
And it was like catching prey or something. And I was like, what the hell is that?
I just gotta say, like, this is trying to show upgrades, but you
Yeah.
know, this to me is not much of an
I
upgrade.
like the wood house better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah,
you get the
yeah.
idea, right?
But wait, no, she comes in and where's her dad now?
Sweet old man, by the way.
Yeah,
Seems
really,
like a
really
really
nice.
sweet
Nothing wrong with this. It's all very nice.
The decorations are abysmal.
Yes, and you know, at least he's there with the cherry tomatoes and a mango, because that's
Hey,
what
it's
you
nice.
want.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
great
that's what she likes.
combination.
Maybe that's what she likes.
Here, welcome home, honey. Eat this plate of cherry tomatoes and a mango. I mean,
not?
sure, yeah,
Better
why
than
not?
offering a peacock.
for,
right.
for sure. It just this
I love this guy. I think this
decoration.
guy
He's
looks
great. There's nothing wrong with this. This decoration's making me a little
making me sick.
sus, dude. Like,
making me
look at the
sick.
yellow couch with the. Oh boy!
Man. But here's
Yeah.
that's called nouveau riche, right?
Yes,
and again,
yes.
this actually perfectly highlights what happens in China when people that a lot of times through
Yeah.
connections or rare earths or something like
You
this.
got
we used to see-
marble walls. You got
Actually,
chrome balls above the table.
When I
That's
was in
great.
Inner Mongolia, I would meet people legitimately, like a little older than me, so they're
Yeah.
in their late 30s or something,
Sure.
right? And they would have so much money they actually just didn't know what to do with it because their whole family ended
Yeah.
up being on like a rare earth plot, and they got
Yeah.
involved in the construction equipment stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And some of these people would be a little older than me and illiterate,
Yeah.
but have so much money they don't even know what to
Yeah,
do
of
with
course.
it, right? And they would decorate their house like this.
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
because they go to one of these decoration shops and they go, give me the most expensive stuff.
Yeah.
One time I saw the guy who was he was 100% convinced that what you do when you get money is buy giant wooden furniture. And I mean, the chair was like the back of the chair was up here. It looked like you were in the big world of Mario.
Sure.
And that's what everyone's sitting like little gnomes on these chairs,
funny.
and they're very uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what happens. Anyway, you get the idea here. You see this upgrade in life. Everything's getting better, right?
Yes.
China's economy is not going down.
Yeah. Here, have your cherry tomatoes and mango.
Hey, I like that guy.
This
See
is more
this?
of this trend. Is now it's like a bottle cap. Pull her
A
thing.
full tap. She's like satisfied. She still loves him. I think it's sweet.
Sure.
It's really sweet. It's like I'll still marry you no matter
It's
what.
kind of puke cringe sweet. But
It is. It is.
you know,
But it's a nice message, right?
yeah. And then now
And then,
she's
it
actually
turns
married.
out- because life has gotten better. Right? Life
Yes.
is actually better than it was.
You know what pisses me off the most about this though is it's obviously rich people that already have money and are successful cosplaying as being
you spoiled
poor.
my point at the end. Was
They're
yes.
cosplaying as
Yeah.
being poor. They're pretending to be poor for clout.
But you know that the government loves that. They
Yes.
will hyper promote that messaging because what it does is, again, if you're poor, then you're the outlier. Everyone else improved their situation.
It's like Peacock Lady, you know? She started out with the peacocks, and then
Yes.
she's like, hey, Dad, let's go to like to our uncle's house in the farm side and your countryside, and let's film you in ragged clothes and make you look poor for my video.
Yeah.
Cosplayers of poor...
Ain't no holla back, girl.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're eating instant noodles in
See
a
the
dump.
door? Watch the door.
Yeah, the door.
The metal door goes in.
Oh, they got a kid now.
Of course. A better metal door.
Yes. And it's
Bringing
coming back
stuff
with
home.
flowers.
Because everything's getting better, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, what's going to be inside here? Oh, still kid.
Yeah, but they watch their situation. He like.
Oh, he's like,
back.
oh no, look, the door's
no.
rubbish. What's going to happen? Oh, look, it's a digital door.
Because
look
I
at this
improved
cavernous
my
place.
situation, right? Every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. And these
Now he's got 2 kids.
Now he's got 2 kids.
Yeah.
Because it's okay now.
Yes.
They want people to have as many children as possible.
Yeah,
Right?
correct.
It's interesting.
What do we got next? I wonder if it's going to be the same thing.
So before she
Oh,
was
it's a
working in
Mercedes
this-
now. Yeah.
It's every time it's a Mercedes.
It's a
dude.
Mercedes,
Mercedes
bro.
and a kid.
Yeah.
I picked up on this. This trend is very interesting.
So, yeah.
Very interesting.
Pro tip, get yourself a Mercedes and you'll have a lot of potential dates with Chinese people.
Before this wraps up,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that I think this legitimately started with no malintent. I don't think that this was a government initiative, but I think what happens is, and this is just my idea, but when you see something that has all of the correct elements that the government's trying to promote, the economy's not bad, you should have lots of kids, your life is actually better than before, you're just forgetting about it.
Yeah.
Then when something like that blows up, they run with it. So they can push an algorithm. They can push highlight stories on state news.
That's why these are getting hundreds of millions of views. It's not because people think this is incredibly entertaining.
They like it. It
Yeah,
obviously
but
has some natural
Sure,
clout.
but it's not like, wow, I can't wait to see more of this. You know what I mean?
But it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Very, very popular. Anyway, again, positive messaging with ulterior motives, I think.
Yeah.
You know, this is a novel take on it.
What, earrings?
Yeah, it's like, oh, she's just got these little gold earrings up. Now it's a bigger gold ring. Now, it's a really big gold ring.
Yeah.
Now it's an even bigger gold ring. Now it's a gold necklace and a bigger gold necklace. She just keeps getting like gold and everything's getting better, right? Gold bar, huge gold diamond
Jesus
ring.
H. What the hell was
Massive
that?
golden bangles. This gold's out of control. See the kids always throwing in there. You can afford everything. You can have more kids. You have everything you need.
Yeah. Wow, this
Obviously
dude's got a lot of
inexpensive.
gold.
He does.
Yeah.
But you know what? This filters exactly into some alarming stuff we've been seeing in China right now. You cannot get away from headlines talking about China's economy. China's property bubble is in massively bad shape right now.
Oh, it's burst.
It hadn't burst before. It was more like the bubble. You know, when people were like waiting for the bubble to burst since like, I don't know, 2014 or something?
Yeah.
It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think we're now seeing the true appalling effects of what's happening.
Well, the fact of the matter is it had to burst a long time ago, but it was hidden.
Yes.
So maybe you could think of it more along the lines of somebody pricked it with a pin, but then they try to like stop it and it slowly deflated in the background.
Yes.
It's actually gone. Yeah.
So just from the property sector thing, you have Evergrande, Country Gardens, these big companies, and you got people so terrified to buy houses now because they tried to stop the news. They tried to stop all coverage about the property bubble, but it did eventually spread around because when people are concerned about their money, that's one thing where they'll ask someone that lives abroad or some uncle that lives in a different area, and they'll try to find out what's going on because they don't want to lose on their investment. And a lot of people became privy to the fact that the government's going to lie through their teeth just to make people still invest in things.
And the reason why this was so successful, keeping this whole thing afloat, is when people did run into trouble, like for instance, people that put down payments on houses and then they were never built. When they went to go and protest about it or try to get their money back, they were hushed up.
Yes.
And the police were sent in to control them.
Yeah.
If they tried to protest, they would be stopped. So nobody got to hear about it. So if you don't get to hear this bad news, you're just happily investing because everyone's saying it's a great idea. And then people invest and then the properties, they are built, but they never get finished.
Yeah.
Or you get it substandard, or, something's wrong. When they try to complain about it, they get shut down. So it doesn't mess with other people's confidence. But if you were able to have a free, open news source and free, open discussion in, freedom of speech, people would have a decade ago already been like, whoa, hang on, this is not a good idea.
I think that's really good what you just said. And I think it's very important to understand that if it was dealt with then and there was a crash then, it would have been so much less bad than it is now.
Yeah.
But because the Chinese government never allows anything to fail or proliferate, then it got so much worse. And we're now about to see some massive problems.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they have so many apartments empty in China that were built, as investment and speculation and so on, that they can house everybody in China twice.
I mean, there's reports that says everyone could have 2 houses in China. That's insane.
Yeah, there's no point. Nobody can do that. Nobody can live in 2 places at once.
I think I heard this from one of our subscribers, but there was a streamer or something, very popular streamer. And I don't want to get that person wrong, so I'll just say a streamer.
Yeah.
But they said that that's not a property bubble. China's just investing in the future of their citizens so that everyone can have a house.
The hell?
These are empty concrete boxes that no one's allowed to live in.
And you can't even live in them anyway, because they've got no windows, they've got no doors, they've got no anything, no electricity, no plumbing or anything. It's just like a concrete, there's no floors or ceiling. It's just rubbish. It's like an empty box.
Yes.
Anyway, so the property bubble thing is big. Confidence is lost. People don't want to pay the prices they used to pay for houses.
No. Empty
they're not buying.
concrete boxes in the sky that are not even...
Exactly.
You can't live in them, right?
Yeah.
You have another problem. A big problem is that remember how China... And this, people don't like to admit this, but how did China get wealthy? And by wealthy, I mean, how did it become an economic powerhouse?
Yeah.
People didn't necessarily get the wealth. How did China get wealthy in the first place? Well, it's because of foreign investment. And that is a very bitter pill that people don't like to swallow.
Yeah.
But if China didn't open up to the rest of the world in 1979 for experimenting with capitalism on the border with Hong Kong and allow foreign companies to come in and set up factories and things, China would be absolutely nowhere today.
Yes.
If China continued on Maoist principles and Maoist policy, then it would be as poor as it was then. So because of foreign investment, because of free trade and free market capitalism, we had a situation where China's economy kept going because there was continued investment.
Yes.
Problem is, the government got so cocky that it decided that it wasn't because of foreign cooperation and foreign companies coming to China. It was because the Communist Party of China created all this.
Yeah, and I just want to make a point here. You hear a lot of people say that China lifted 800 million people out of poverty. Never mind the fact that their definition of lifting people out of poverty means you earn $1.5 a day.
Yes.
If you earn $1.5 a day, that means you've been lifted out of poverty.
So we don't need to deal with it.
Yeah, so what is that? $500 a year. Yeah. So if you earn $500 a year, you're not poor anymore. So there we go. We've lifted you out of poverty. But it wasn't the Chinese government that lifted people out of poverty. It was the rest of the world investing in China.
And Chinese people working hard.
Yes, that's what I was getting to, is the fact that the Chinese government actually took the boot off of the necks of the Chinese people and allowed them to engage with the rest of the world, allowed them to start businesses and factories and deal with and sell to the outside world.
Yes.
It was the Chinese people that lifted themselves to $1.5 a day.
Amen.
You know?
Absolutely true, though.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that now people are looking at China where the government says, we've done everything.
Yeah.
You guys had nothing to do with this, you outside foreign businesses.
Yeah, you just want to keep us down.
You just want to keep us down. We did this for the people.
Yeah.
And so people go, well, if they're going to punish businesses, we're not going to invest in China anymore. We're going to go invest in India. We're going to go invest in Vietnam. We're going to go invest in
Thailand.
In Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Poland, right? Thailand.
Mexico.
Silicon Valley venture capitalists are breaking up with China, and this is one of the most damning things. The future is in tech. The future is in tech companies.
Yes.
Right? This is where all the money is, and they don't want to deal with China anymore.
No.
Fully censored internet.
Yes.
They don't allow their own citizens to use these Western platforms.
Especially the Silicon Valley. All of Facebook and all of these companies are blocked.
China has also stolen over $1 trillion in IP. So why would you do business with a country that's going to steal your stuff?
Yes.
Right? And then patent it for themselves. It's a nightmare situation for any business that wants to do any business with China. So they're pulling out.
It's opaque. The Chinese government can freeze your assets. They can do anything they want.
They can freeze your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
What
it gets
else?
worse because not only is it people pulling out of China in terms of like Silicon Valley and tech companies and stuff, but they're the future. At least what China's been able to do is say they can say right now, today might be not that good. They'll never say that, but they can say right now is not that good, but eventually it will be good. There's actually a phrase in Chinese, it's 明天会更好.
Yeah.
It means tomorrow will be better.
Yeah.
And that's a pervasive thing that the government always uses. In fact, there's a propaganda song called 明天会更好.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we say tomorrow's another day, I guess. Is that
Yeah.
what we say?
But
In
there is a
Afrikaans,
propaganda.
"Morgen is nog een dag."
Oh, okay. There's a propaganda song literally called that.
Yeah.
And that's the philosophy of the government is that things might not be that good before and it might not be that good now, but tomorrow will be better. But the future predictions of China is a slowed economy, a housing crash, and not a good or conducive environment for foreign businesses to set up. So the future predictions are bad as well.
Yeah, that's right. So China home prices likely to fall 0.9% this year. Previous poll tipped growth. Reuters
And they're trying
fall.
to hide this from people in China because they don't want people to divest. They don't want people to put their money in foreign currencies, in gold or anything. They want people to keep going.
Yeah, correct.
And it just gets worse. This is being widely reported now, and this news is finally starting to leak back into China, right? Just because of how much coverage there is.
Well, I mean, the fact that they stopped publishing the unemployment youth data
Yes.
because it was so bad
Yes.
and it was making China look bad that they stopped publishing it.
Yeah.
That goes to show how bad it is. Because if you have to stop publishing how many people are unemployed, yeah, that means there's a lot of them.
That was just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, they actually removed a lot of economic indicators that economists use to judge China's economy because they're trying to figure out how bad or how good it's doing. But China keeps removing these things, right? Hold on. But that's why we saw things like using pork prices to figure out the real economy. China slips further from high income status as earnings measures dips. China was supposed to end up as a high income country, meaning a developed country.
Sure.
The future projection for that doesn't look like it's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
It will never happen.
Yeah.
That's worrying. I mean, the whole
not good.
goal of the Chinese government was to get China to high income status and they could kind of take their foot off the gas and be like, everything's fine. Moderate prosperity, they call it.
Yeah, but they jumped the gun too
Yeah.
quickly because they thought that they could be self-reliant and rely on the local purchasing kind of economy, and it just never was at that stage. It wasn't mature enough for them to, say screw you to the rest of the world.
Yes.
And they said screw you to the rest of the world far too quickly
Yes.
and shot themselves in the foot.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the deal. The worst nightmare
Yeah.
is the Chinese government doesn't actually care if people poor or suffering. It sounds harsh, but I can prove this to you.
Right.
When Xi Jinping said that they've already lifted everyone out of poverty and that part's done, remember it was the victory
Yes.
over poverty and a big
Yes.
speech.
You earn $1.5 a day. You're not poor anymore.
Well, it's worse than that because there were people still in poverty. In fact, millions and millions of people in China are still in poverty.
By the way, the $1.5 a day is actually a high estimate by the Chinese government
Yes,
standards.
yes.
In reality, a lot of people in China earn less than that.
Yes. The thing is, those people weren't lifted out of poverty. We've talked about this before. When that speech was given, it was simply made illegal to talk about poverty anymore. In fact, when people went to go, clandestine journalists in China would go to villages, these Chinese journalists, and they would say, interview people, what's the deal with your village? We see that you have the poverty alleviation stamp of approval and all the Communist Party of China paperwork on your door and everything. What happened? Absolutely nothing. Video removed.
Yeah, exactly.
People get thrown in jail.
Yeah.
Turns out it was just illegal to talk about being
The worst thing is when they said everyone was lifted out of poverty, they stopped aid to places that had no money.
Yes.
Because they were like, now,
Yes,
because
yes.
if we admit that we have to give aid to these places because they're poor, it means that we haven't achieved that goal.
So the people that were in most need
Yeah.
got their aid pulled because it was bad PR and it went against the Communist Party of
Exactly.
China's narrative.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. This is a great summation of how things have been going in China. It's it's kind of a dream world. Don't let your government end up like this.
Yeah.
Because they live in a dream world where nobody knows what's happening.
Exactly.
It's crazy. But yeah, they don't care about what happens as long as people are not revolting against the government. But protests are up.
Yes.
And so the Chinese government's in overdrive trying to quash these protests because people are not happy about the economy, right? Now, here's the deal. The people were super worried about pulling away from China because they thought it would hurt the U.S. economy, it would hurt the world economy.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Who cares?
We've said that.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
We've said that. A lot of economists have said that. But a lot of people were too scared to divest. But here's the deal. A lot of analysts right now, in fact, the current administration here in America, I believe she is the commissioner of trade, said that the U.S. failing trade with China could actually be a positive. And we've seen a lot of manufacturing come back to America. We've seen investing in other countries that are less risky than China. In fact, the current administration has promoted doing business with countries that are not a risk and are actually already our allies, which we should have been doing in the first place.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're on the right trajectory for America to do well out of all this wreckage. But China is only going down right now.
Yeah.
And that's what we've seen. And actually, in the next slide, we can see something really important that's kind of the writing on the wall for anyone considering doing business in China right now.
Sure.
Here's the deal. When China puts out a statement like this, then you know something bad is happening.
Yeah.
What does this say?
China calls on foreign businesses to share their problems as investment slumps. Share your problems. What? Maybe, what would your problems be? Well, you stole our IP. You froze our assets.
Yes.
You banned our product in your country.
Yes.
You knocked off our product and started selling it and undercut us in their own market. You polluted the environment with the factory and lied about it. What else?
You could write a dissertation on
Yeah,
this.
there's a lot of reasons why it's not good to invest in China.
So this turns out that they call for all foreign business in China. Tell us what's wrong. We don't want you to leave, right?
Yeah.
It's nonsense. None of this happened. There's no indication of them doing anything about this, right? They put this out there to make people less
It's to
nervous.
placate people.
Yes.
And they always do this. Oh, don't worry. China plans to reach carbon net zero on the pollution
always a plan.
by sometime in the future. Meanwhile, they're like, they bought it again. Let's pollute as much as possible because, we bought ourselves some time. They don't care.
Isn't the housing market a perfect indicator of that? It's like, no, nothing. It's not bad. Don't talk about it. It's not bad. Don't talk about it. It's not bad. Don't talk about it. It's the same thing. They won't address the problems.
Nope.
In fact, I have proof. Go to the next slide, please.
Sure.
And we have... should be, this is Nicholas Burns. He's our ambassador to China, right?
I mean, the American ambassador.
The American ambassador to China. He lives in Beijing, right?
It's not my ambassador, but
Oh, sorry.
who cares? I don't even know who my ambassador is. It's some lame person, apparently.
Is it?
I'm sure it must be.
Oh, okay. Is it Willie Medisha? It should
If
be.
it was him, I'd actually be happy. I
love
want
Willie.
I want him to be the ambassador. I don't know who the ambassador is, but, someone very deep up the CCP's ass, I'll tell you that much.
You think so? In South
Yes,
Africa?
100%. Anyway.
Okay, what I was saying is
Yes.
my fellow Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Nicholas Burns, right? He did a fantastic interview on 60 Minutes. Highly recommend you go check it out. I believe I put it in the description. But it says, more money is leaving China for the first time in 40 years than is coming in from American, Japanese, European, and Korean investors. And I liked what he said here because usually we're focusing on China and America's relationship, but it's
Yeah.
It's everyone in the developed world where this is just going, right? And what he goes on to talk about is the exact opposite of what China says is happening. They keep saying that foreign businesses are welcome. They're not going to be harassed.
Sure.
They can kind of do their own thing, and as long as they cooperate with China, it's going to be fine. But let me read this. It says, this is Leslie Stahl, the interviewer, right? She's talking to Nicholas Burns. He says, it's a real problem for this economy, meaning China.
Yeah.
They have 1.4 billion people here. They got to keep it growing, and foreign capital is important. You ask why? I think there's been a contradiction in the messaging from the government here and in China to the rest of the world. On one hand, they say, we're open for business. We want American, Japanese businesses here, whatever, right? But on the other hand, they've raided 6 or 7 American businesses since last March, right? And Leslie replies and says, raided? And he says, and by the way, they're having this interview in China, by the way.
Yeah.
This is how bad this has gotten.
Sure.
He says, raided. They've gone into American companies and shut them down and made accusations that we believe are very much unwarranted. The American companies include Bain & Company and the Mintz Group, a company that does due diligence for other companies that might want to invest here.
Yes.
That was raided last year. 5 of its Chinese employees were taken into custody, and they're still there. Another firm, Capvision, was raided. Lest the message wasn't loud and clear, a report about it was put on state-run television. It accused Western consulting firms of espionage and stealing national security and military secrets. Is that not know you?
Yes, that's exactly know you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So Leslie replies and says they want the investment to come back and they're raiding American companies. And Nicholas Byrne says, yes, they passed an amendment to their counter-espionage law, and it's written in such a general way that it could be that American business people could be accused of espionage for engaging in practices that are perfectly legal and acceptable everywhere else in the world. Collecting data to do due diligence so that you can decide whether you want to invest in a company to form a joint venture.
Yeah.
So we're at a point now where China goes, we need everyone to invest here. Please come. We won't bother you.
Yeah.
They pass a law which envelops anything to basically target American companies. Go and raid them, arrest people, and shut them down, including a company that helps people to decide whether they should invest in China or not.
Well, it's not just American companies, it's any company. And we've seen this for a long time because when, any of these ratings companies do due diligence in China, they find out that there's a lot of falsehoods. Remember the whole, what was it, the China Hustle, or what was the name of that again?
Yeah, China Hustle. Great film.
Yeah, great film. But basically the factories, the factories would only turn on the lights when investors came to look, but they weren't actually operating, weren't doing anything, and it was all lies, that type of thing. So you get companies that do due diligence. Like if you're going to invest in China, you need to know whether or not your money is actually going to, give a return. So you have companies and their whole sole purpose is to check out your investments.
Yes.
So they'll do a little bit of background check, to make sure that the company's legitimate, that it actually does turn over a profit, that kind of thing. China has now written into its law that companies like that, just trying to find out basic information, are now committing espionage.
So why would you invest in that country?
Yeah, because
it's insane.
You cannot get accurate data anymore.
No.
Because if you try to get accurate data, you get arrested.
Yes. Yet they're running these multi-million-dollar campaigns on state media to attract foreign investment.
Yeah.
Why would you ever do that?
Yeah,
They're dumb. Cake, eat it too.
Yeah,
right.
That's exactly it.
Last thing he says, I think they want to control data about the Chinese people and about Chinese companies, and so they think it is at the heart of the problem with those American companies operating in that sphere. And it says, Ambassador Burns told us that it's just one of the concerns that he hears about. Then he goes on to talk about intellectual property theft. Yeah. Highly recommend, very, very good, candid interview down below in the description. And to cap it off, just for some proof, yes, it is in the news now that China has raided 7 American businesses in Beijing and arrested employees on suspicion of espionage. And this is, again, these are companies that are trying to deal with, at least one of them trying to deal with investment into China. It's nonsense.
Yeah, of course. And it's always just a way to strong arm people and try to, justify the bad actions of the government,
Yeah.
It's a very bad country to invest in.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because I complain a lot about the pollution China puts out, right? I do. Because it's outstanding the amount of damage. I shared on Twitter recently how they've destroyed all the coral reefs in the South China Sea. Like tens of thousands of square miles of coral have just been wiped out, completely just destroyed. Like the whole South China Sea is barren because of what China's been doing. Anyway, whenever I complain about pollution, they're like, oh yeah, well, you getting
Flint,
all your...
Michigan.
Yeah, well, they say Flint, Michigan, number one, but then they also say, you get all your stuff made there, so you can't blame them. Yeah. And yes, I can blame them. I do not want things to be manufactured there. It's an irresponsible government. They do allow corruption. They do allow shortcuts. They don't crack down enough on polluters. So I would rather, honestly, pay more for stuff to be manufactured locally, and I support that. I 100%, every time I can, I buy something that's made in the USA.
Yep.
Or whatever country I'm living in.
Yeah.
Right? But I support locally made stuff. It's always better.
Yes.
Every time. It's always stronger. It's always lasts longer. It's always nicer. But besides that, I would rather that manufacturing, if we have to live in this globalized world where manufacturing is outsourced to cheap labor somewhere out there, I would rather it goes to a more responsible country where laws are actually abided by and where the environment, for instance, isn't just wrecked wholesale.
Yeah.
Because in a more responsible country, when you set up a factory, you have to have an inspector that comes in and makes sure you're not discharging chemicals into the water. Okay? That you're not allowing this amount of pollution to go into the sky. And in a responsible country, those laws are actually followed, not bribed away, like in China.
Correct.
So when people go, oh, but they're manufacturing your stuff, they're manufacturing it in such a bad, horrible, irresponsible way that they shouldn't have the right to manufacture our goods for us. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, rant over.
Invest in countries that are responsible.
Yes, responsible.
And there's plenty of them out there.
Exactly. All right, so it's time for us to move on to our next. That was Soft Power Hour, so now I guess we're going into...
No, we're going into Slopaganda.
Slopaganda. Okay, all right. Do we have our little... Let's see. We have a new thing. Don't worry, guys. We got rid of the sound bite. Everybody hated the diarrhea sound.
Oh, we have something first.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what's going on here?
Well, we just had Xiaoban Ho episode.
Yeah, just watch. We'll show you.
The honorary tinfoil hats.
I just look like a conquistador or something.
This actually is fascinating and dumb.
Chinese or / Asian intestines are longer than Western ones.
Their main plan was to wipe out the Chinese race.
Oh, how else could it be explained? Oh, I guess aliens came down.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, aliens came down and did like bronze work.
A monumental, supremely devious plot to annihilate the Chinese and other people of color.
See, these conspiracy theories are actually crafted by the Chinese
government, right?
To distract away from their own problems. I freaking knew it.
What is the best material for a radio-proof hat? I think we're wearing it. Gotta be tinfoil.
Probably lead.
Don't recommend lead hats to anyone. Don't do that.
A tinfoil lined lead. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, before we get into Slopaganda, guys, if you're interested in joining our VIP show on Monday, head on over to patreon.com/ADVpodcasts and join the Xiaoban Ho tier, if you have the means, of course.
It is a full episode every single Monday, live streamed. It's just like the China show with a different topic, and we have different segments and different clips and stuff, but it's a full-on experience. It's the best way to support us, and you get an entertaining episode. That episode, by the way, was about China's conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And it was about all the things that Chinese people, the average Chinese person might believe, as opposed to conspiracy theories that you might find in the U.S. And we covered a bunch of absolutely fascinating ones, really.
Yeah.
We also wore tinfoil hats.
Yes, we did.
Just in case the radio waves were
Yeah, exactly. Didn't want that to happen.
Definitely support us over at patreon.com/ADVpodcasts. Join the Xiaoban Ho tier, and you'll get that episode and every other one before and every one in the future.
And access to our Discord server and all that other good stuff. You know, that's what you say these days.
Yes.
All that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
Yeah. None of the bad stuff, only the good stuff. Anyway, our new segment...
Don't do that.
Tinfoil lined lead. Slopaganda.
Love the new
that logo's epic.
logo. Shout out to Dragonella.
So, I often go onto the Chinese state media YouTube channels and websites and stuff to see what's what.
One of your pastimes.
Yeah, because I always like finding the ridiculous nonsense they put out there. And I was kind of taken aback because there's this one video they put out, right?
Yeah. Called The Trap.
It's called The Trap. And it's basically a pro-BRI, Belt and Road Initiative.
Yeah, can I read the blurb?
Yeah, please read the blurb. You got it?
Yeah, I'll have to pull it up real quick.
Okay.
I'll pull it up on
Okay. Is it this one? When you go to the streets.
Yeah, I want to read that. It's actually pretty important.
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
Okay, you want to read it?
So you found this. Explain how you found this.
Well, okay. In fact, maybe before we read that blurb, you have a screenshot of their actual thing here, don't you? Yeah. Is this it?
This is their page, and this is the comment section.
Oh, no, hang on. Sorry. I go to their page. Now, China, this is from China Daily, right?
Yes.
China Daily, the average views they get on a video is a couple of hundred.
We'll show that in a second.
Yeah.
But you found this video.
I was just going through their propaganda, and then in amongst all these couple of hundred view videos, this one suddenly has 500,000 views.
Right, which is crazy when you see 200. We'll show that in a second.
Yeah.
This is what it says.
Sure.
It says, when you go into the streets in Western countries and ask random strangers about the Belt and Road Initiative, 99% of the time you'll be told it's a debt trap. I feel like most people don't even know what it is, by the way.
Sure.
Only like China nerds like us know what that is, and you guys watching. In the first episode of our new documentary series, how many times do they have new series?
Every week.
And it's
every
like one
freaking week.
every
yeah,
time.
Shiktionary still doesn't have a sequel, and I want to see it. Come on, Rick.
In the first episode of our new... Don't encourage that.
I want another Shiktionary.
I don't ever want to see shit. Can I finish this? In the first episode of our new documentary series, The Old World and the New Road. That's hard to say. The Old World and the New Road.
Yeah.
We delve into what truly constitutes a debt trap. Is this Know You or what?
Yeah.
How did these accusations come into being? And why is it important to bring light to the human experiences of the Belt and Road beyond the Western media headlines? And it says hashtag media unlocked, hashtag old world new road, hashtag belt and road. Now, you know what's nuts about this? You said, go to the next slide. You said, on average, this channel, which is this is preposterous by itself. It's,
look,
wait,
you can
what
see.
is it?
Oh, it is.
It's preposterous.
It's preposterous that a channel with 1.2 whatever million subscribers has an average view count of about 200 to 400
Yeah, look
views.
at the. Okay, look, 311. There's an unboxing China. You know, unfortunately they got rid of
Unbox.
box, but whatever. Okay, that had 443 views. Then you've got something about the impact of meeting of this and that, 449. Then you have the trap, 503,000.
Doesn't that look suspicious?
You know what's even more suspicious? It only has 13 comments.
Yes. So
What the hell?
you know what I did? You know what I did?
What did you
I
do?
pulled it up just to check live.
Yes.
Keep going. Let's. Oh, sorry. Can you see those comments?
Yeah, I'll get myself
So
out
in
here.
a video with 503,000 views, 500,000 views.
Yes.
On a channel that averages 200 to 400 views.
Yes.
Already suspicious.
That's suspicious.
It has 14 comments.
Yes.
Including yours.
Including mine.
So we were suspicious. We said,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Before we say this is bot farming,
Yeah.
before we say this is a propaganda campaign and they're paying for views or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
China Daily. What we did was we said, let's try to leave a comment, because maybe what they did was just cut off comments.
Yeah, maybe they
after,
cut off comments, right?
A minute, right? So you left a comment, and it's still there.
It's still 14. This was like a week ago,
Yeah.
right?
You left a comment 3 days ago.
Yes.
You said, sus, 10 upvotes,
Well, 10K.
10K upvotes, 503K views, but only 13 comments. You guys need to try harder to disguise your bot farming. Because we thought, if we're not allowed to leave a comment, then they just cut off comments. That's why there's no comments. Nope. So you're telling me, YouTube, by the way, where's your staff looking at this kind of
Yes,
stuff?
exactly.
This video, which they really care about, obviously,
Yeah.
got 500,000 views and only 14 comments. One is us.
Yes. This is just not logically possible.
It's not, it's impossible.
It is impossible. So this is bot farming, or this is, they've embedded it somewhere and made people, force them to watch it, or something strange is going on here, okay?
Something weird is going on.
And this is why it's under slopaganda, because this stupid, by the way, it's one of the most boring, condescending, disgusting videos I've watched in a long time. It's got a dude who literally looks like a frog in it, okay? I don't know what they're trying to do with this thing, but they're basically trying to say, no, American people are in debt. American government gets people in debt, not China. That's the whole point of the video.
So moving on to the next slide, we can see that this obviously is very important for them, because we have a post on Facebook, right?
Yes.
Same thing. What does
The
it
same
say?
video.
When you go in the streets in Western countries and ask random strangers, it's the same video, right?
Yes.
If you look at this, you'll see this got 731K views.
Yeah, you can see it right here.
Almost a million views.
Yeah,
Might even
exactly.
be a million at this point.
How many comments? Frickin' 5?
5 comments. It got 5 comments.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. I often point fingers at YouTube because YouTube's been pretty bad about labeling propaganda channels. But
Sure.
I have to tip my tinfoil hat to Meta, because they've been doing amazing work when documenting the influence operations from
Facebook,
China.
now called
Right.
Meta, I guess.
And they've been honest about it. They put out reports. They've been shutting down accounts left and right. It's good, right?
Yeah.
But again, Meta, you got to look into this. So you're telling me this got 731,000 views and it got 5 comments.
Did you put the comments here, by the way? No. Because they were so lame.
What were they?
They were like, I can't remember, it was some stupid thing. It was like, China, great, with like emojis and stuff. It was something like
Really?
that. It was really lame. It was like very obvious. But yeah, 5 comments. So out of 731,000 people who watched this video,
Yes.
only 5 of them left a
Yes.
comment.
Yeah.
And it's a long video as well. It's like a little documentary. It's like a,
If I were Google
Yeah.
and I were Meta, I would probably be looking into these accounts and trying to find out, oh, wait, almost all of the subscribers are fake.
Yes.
They get no engagement.
The
on
views
their
are-
videos. The views are abysmal.
It had 9 shares. It had 5 comments and 9 shares.
Yeah, and then randomly a video will do exceptionally well
Yeah.
and get no interaction.
Yes.
Virtually no interaction. Probably look into that.
It's slopaganda.
I think you have some problems.
Fake views. The Chinese government is faking the views. They're buying the views or they're faking it in some way or the other because that's not natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get that with the shills as well.
You do. You do. You do.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
This is so funny. So this is a Steam game called
Yeah.
The Long March. I believe in English it's called like the Campaign of Light or something.
Pursuit of Light.
Pursuit of Light, sorry.
Can you just look at that price?
It's $200.
Yes.
So this is a VR game.
It's got 7 user reviews. What?
7 suckers.
Yeah.
This is you can only get this on the Chinese Steam store. Chinese language.
Yeah, you can get it on the Steam,
You can,
so you can go buy it
but it's
now
only
if you
in
want.
it's only in Chinese.
Yeah, don't buy it. Don't buy it.
Well, you can if you really want to support this great nationalist game. So this is a nationalist VR game.
Yes.
Which shows you Mao's expedition of the Long March, which is when
Can we read this blurb there?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Long March is a great miracle in human history. you know, it's a miracle when people just hang around the mountains. The Central Red Army fought more than 380 battles during this period. It passed 14 provinces, crossed 18 mountains, crossed 24 rivers, and traveled about 25,000 miles. Okay, so that's the review.
So this is a VR game about that expedition, right? There's a big problem. Can you play the next part? We'll show you a little video from it. So we'll ask you, do you think this is worth $200? Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Yay.
You can fly the communist flag.
Yeah.
Actually got some video of that guy.
Oh, you
in
do?
the snow, yeah.
Good. Where is he? Okay.
Here, it's here. So remember, this is a VR game. There's a coup de grace, though, that we have.
Okay, let's
Some
see.
info about this.
Yes.
He's taking him out of the snow. You two can dig your fellow comrade from the snow.
Yeah.
So, go back to it.
Yeah,
real
I'll
quick.
go back there.
This is a $200 VR game. Okay, it's about as much as a VR headset costs.
Yeah.
And it's 5 minutes long.
It's only 5 minutes long. Yeah, it's certainly not a long march, I'll tell you that much.
It's the shortest march ever.
Recently, it's been discussed on the Chinese internet because people have rediscovered it or something. Okay, because it's supposed to be all patriotic, so you would expect patriotic people to go out and buy this thing, but it turns out that it's really rubbish, and it costs far more than $200 when you originally it cost more.
Yeah, wasn't
And-
that $350
Yeah,
or
it
something?
was super expensive. So
like that.
people buy it, and then it's only 5 minutes of content and then a blank screen.
Yes.
And so they were all complaining online about what garbage it was. But this is, again, this falls under slopaganda because it's all about being patriotic and all this nonsense.
It's 5 minutes.
Yes, 5 minutes of gameplay, and it was.
It's basically a 5-minute history lesson, you know?
And it's very bad.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The graphics are terrible and all that.
It's somebody said it looks like N65.
Oh, yeah, it's worse. If you actually see, this is not actually a great representative. Remember the one I showed you with the guy falling off the cliff and stuff, that
Yeah.
part? It's hilarious.
Yeah, look into it.
Yeah, go look into it. You'll have a laugh. Okay, so I guess it's time for World News now, right?
Yeah.
World View, sorry, where we talk about everything in the world, specifically with regards to China. What do we got this time around, I wonder?
Well, why don't you find out? This is
I'll get there. I got to fast forward a little bit.
As to what
aha. So
Oh.
I'll run. We're going long here. Very quickly, you guys know what Temu is. By the way, people were calling it Temu for a while.
Yep.
Then the people were getting mad, and now it's called Temu again.
Like-
We always called it Temu.
Yeah, we
didn't
always called it Temu, and then they were like, no, it's Temu, and now it's Temu again, whatever.
So there's major backlash right now. I believe there's 2 class action lawsuits being formed against it. Why? The allegations are this app, which by the way in Chinese is called Pinduoduo.
Yeah.
The American version of this app has access to pretty much everything on your phone.
Can we play the segment?
Yeah, let's just play it.
We're going to play the segment. Now, you got this from like some American TV
Today
show
Show,
that us sort of like stay-at-home moms watch in the morning. right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look.
It doesn't mean it's not credible.
No,
They have
it's
the
good.
Guy, they have the guy on.
Yeah, I'm glad it's on that kind of thing.
Popular discount shopping app Temu making its second Super Bowl commercial appearance. But now all eyes are on Temu for a different reason. 2 class action lawsuits allege the app has an arsenal of tools to gain access to what they call literally everything on your phone, including your contacts, camera, microphone, and more. Attorney Steve Berman represents the plaintiffs in one of the lawsuits. You're alleging that Temu is collecting text messages and photos. What proof do you have?
Various experts who have studied the Temu application, and there's a wide consensus that it is the most dangerous app in America, period.
In a statement to NBC News, Temu denies the allegations, writing in part, "We collect information with a clear and singular purpose to provide and continually enhance our products and services for our users."
I'd like to ask you, like, that nice little thing that they say there.
That's so convenient. It's such a
It's just
convenient
like,
way to say things.
We want to enhance our products and services, but what? Why do you need to know someone's location and have access to their microphone and their camera and stuff in order to send them a cheap rubbish
It's
from
such
China?
boilerplate, like lawyer speak, isn't it?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
want to enhance your experience. You'll have the most enhanced experience.
And they're like, I just ordered $10 shoes.
Yes, and you don't need to have that information.
No.
You didn't need to listen to my phone call.
No, exactly. You don't need to have access to my picture library.
Yes.
Anyway, let's see what continue
Adding,
with this.
"We only collect and use data necessary for specific justified scenarios."
Justify?
Yeah,
Who justifies this?
I want to know, what is a specific justified scenario? It's like, oh, he's a Chinese dissident. Let's
Yeah.
make sure that the Chinese government knows where he lives.
This is hypothetical.
Yes, of course. Well, that would be a justified scenario for Temu or Temu.
If the parent company had anything to do with
Yeah,
it.
it's justified that the Communist Party member that's inside the company said, find out where this person lives.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's pretty nuts to think that in their official reply to this allegation is that we only collect data and use data necessary for specific justified scenarios. How like holier than thou is that attitude
Yeah.
to say to a user? Like
Yeah.
we know what's better.
Oh,
for
yeah.
you.
When we think it's justified, we'll use your personal data.
That's up to us, not
Yeah.
you pleb.
It's kind of scary.
The customer is always wrong.
Yeah, let's see what happens
This
next.
is very CCP attitude.
It really
by the
is,
way.
yeah.
The e-commerce platform has a massive reach. Temu was the world's most popular marketplace app in 2023 with 338 million downloads. In June, we asked Patrick Jackson with the internet security company Disconnect to analyze the Temu app. He found it was collecting more personal data than it told users, including IP addresses, which can be used to determine a shopper's location, sexual orientation, and political affiliation. At that time, Temu said, "We are committed to the privacy and security of our users. The information is solely for enhancing our service, and we do not sell it for money." After we shared our findings, Apple told Temu to fix the app. The company said it complied. But after reanalyzing the app today, Jackson says Temu has turned on certificate pinning, which makes it harder for researchers to see what kind of data the app is collecting. And
I just want to point out here the fact that Apple allowed the app, because Apple's supposed to have very stringent rules.
Yeah, and they've been pretty good.
But they allowed the app
Yeah.
on their
Yeah.
platform to collect all this data. And
Yeah.
only when some, like stay-at-home mom show contacted Apple to say, hey, we analyzed this, it's bad. Then Apple's like, hey, Temu, whatever you want to call yourself, this is bad. You should change this. What's going on? Why were they allowed to do this in the first place? Has Apple become that lame?
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
That-
By the way, that's it. It is as funny as it is to call this a stay-at-home mom show. Vicky Nguyen, who does this segment, she does great stuff.
Sure.
I love her work.
Yeah.
But I think this is the exact platform that they should be showing this kind of expose
Yes.
on, because the average person that's
Who's-
going to go out
who's
there
a
and use
stay-at-home
that kind-
mom?
or someone with less money,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe a younger person that
I
doesn't
think anyone would use
focus.
it.
Yeah.
But you don't
Yeah.
need to be any certain
That's very
demographic.
true.
If you're told that, hey, you can get a freaking phone or a drone or
Whatever.
something for $10
Yeah.
and $5, you'll be like, oh, I can
It's
get wireless
tempting.
earphones for $3. Yeah, why not?
Especially
You know?
the average person probably doesn't know the connection to China. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And at the end of the day, there's that old saying, if it's too good to be true, it generally is. And it's definitely the case here. You will pay in other ways
By the
for
way,
your cheap goods.
Whoever is, never mind. Go ahead. We're going too long on this.
Okay,
We'll finish
right.
this up.
Yeah, let's finish this up. Sorry. All right.
they've updated their privacy nutrition label, acknowledging they now collect precise locations. Jackson says that's detailed enough to tell within 15 feet of where you are.
It collects
Yeah.
the most personal data of any app on the marketplace, and people don't know that they're at risk.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Why does it need that?
Yeah.
You know?
The precise location of where you are. Because it's got nothing to do with delivering something to you.
Yes.
So why does this stupid shopping app need to know exactly where you are all the time?
So we're in a situation where this is alleged, but it's alleged that they have access to camera, microphone.
No, they found it's not alleged.
location.
They
No,
do.
I know. I'm saying it's in this class action lawsuits, right? So we'll find out what actually happens. We'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah.
We've had our eye on this app for a while now, and it's always been.
I mean, I released
Rubbed
that
me the
video
wrong way,
right
yeah.
when Temu became a thing. Temu. Why am I calling it Temu now? I called it Temu. I always called it Temu in the beginning.
Whatever.
But everyone is like, whatever. Stupid app. Don't use it. Don't buy that junk anyway. You don't need that crap in your life.
No,
Seriously.
Absolutely. And that's from us. Don't use this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Don't use TikTok. Don't
Yeah.
use Temu. Don't use these apps that are coming from these companies in China that make it look better than it actually is. Like, it's super cheap. You don't have to pay shipping and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself at risk.
You're actually really jeopardizing, everything in your own country. You're undercutting, people's jobs in your own country. It's not a good thing to do.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, don't want to guilt you or anything, but it's like if you can, don't use it.
Yes. Subsequent. All right, we'll try to make this quick, but we can
Okay.
just play these. You can introduce this.
All right, now we have to move over to Canada now, who's guys.
They have the Aurora, right?
Yeah, they do. Great for the Aurora, but this is not a French kiss moment, a French chef's kiss moment. Look, there's been a lot coming out about COVID recently, about it being made in a lab. There's a big thing with the scientists in the UK. It's just released a report which says there's a smoking gun to say pretty much that it was made in a lab. But this is very disturbing, and I'm just going to play the clip and we'll discuss it a bit afterwards, okay? Please take a look. This is straight out of Canada.
Termination of the employment of 2 scientists.
After years of questions and political wrangling, the moment of truth. Documents released detailing why Jianguo Chu and her husband Qiting Cheng were fired from the National Microbiology Lab in Winnipeg.
They weren't disclosing information, they weren't disclosing relationships, that the nature of other work that they were conducting wasn't being disclosed.
Good morning.
Chu was part of an award-winning team that developed Canada's Ebola vaccine. Now, intelligence assessments also show she and her husband shared infectious viruses and scientific research with China, had a close and clandestine relationship with Chinese officials, and were considered a credible threat to Canada's economic security. The documents also say she lied about her involvement with Chinese government and military programs. In January 2021, both she and Cheng had their security status revoked and were fired in letters saying, "You can no longer be trusted to safeguard information, assets, and facilities."
I just wanted to point out here, for those of you who don't know, these documents were released, but the government has been trying to hide them for about 4 years now. But they showed a clear connection between these Chinese scientists working in the lab and the Wuhan,
Yeah, that's what they said.
lab of, the virology lab where our good old friend, Peter Daszak, otherwise known as Lambda Ballsack, was involved. And, okay, everybody kind of knows that this is probably where the coronavirus originated. It's got something to do with this lab. So you've got these scientists that are working in this top biolab in Canada, working hand in hand with the Chinese government and the PLA. And I mean, nobody wanted to let anyone know about this. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
They lied about their affiliations. They actually, the main scientist opened up patents in China, patents, whatever you want to call them, of the same things that she was, stealing from the lab. She then patented those exact kind of virology strains in China. There's a lot to go into. It's a big document. I was reading through it. It's horrific when you read it, but we'll just let you finish watching this segment and then we'll discuss it a little bit more.
Cannot be relied upon not to abuse the trust and not pose a security risk to the Government of Canada and PHAC. We've never been able to talk to Chu or Cheng, and no one answered their door today.
Will he acknowledge espionage was involved in the Winnipeg lab incident?
For years, the opposition has fought for details to be released, accusing the government of using national security to shield itself from embarrassment. The health minister says the threat of Chinese influence wasn't as well known at the time.
I do think there was a lax adherence to security protocols. I think that there was an inadequate understanding of the threat of foreign interference. I believe that an earnest effort was made to adhere to those policies, but not with the rigor that was required.
But security experts are skeptical.
We knew a lot and had known a lot for at least a decade about Chinese foreign interference activities in Canada, a lot of concern at that time. And so there's really no excuse.
As for the lab, it says it's beefed up its security protocols and its rules for collaborating and sharing research with other countries. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Documents related to a massive security breach at the Trudeau government's most sensitive laboratory, where the most dangerous viruses and pathogens are studied and handled. We have learned that the Trudeau government's head of pathogens was collaborating with members of Beijing's People's Liberation Army who are responsible for bioweapons and bioterrorism. We know now that a People's Liberation Army official was able to gain personal access, walk in the door, look at computers, and have access to all of our most important virological secrets. Let me, if you think any of this is hyperbole, read the report yourself. This is from government documents, the Trudeau government's own documents. It says here on page 142, Winnipeg lab scientist Dr. Chu is head of the Special Pathogens Unit, the top person in that job. According to documents on page 242, quote, represents a serious and credible danger to the government of Canada as a whole, and in particular at facilities considered high security due to the potential for theft of dangerous materials attractive to terrorists and foreign entities that conduct espionage to infiltrate and damage the economic security of Canada, end quote. It states further on page 239, investigators assessed that Dr. Chu communicated with foreign entities during her trips to China. The evidence obtained from interviews and from information collected from the electronic content of her devices reveal that this is indeed the case. As a subject matter expert with access to sensitive information and dangerous materials, Dr. Chu presents a realistic and credible threat to Canada's economic security when conducting repeated and clandestine meetings with foreign entities, end quote. Then it says Dr. Chu conducted joint research with the Major General Chen Wei of the People's Liberation Army, who, according to page 236, is a noted top virologist at the Academy of Military Medical Sciences and is China's chief biological defense expert engaged in research related to biosafety, biodefense, and bioterrorism.
Yep.
We're fully aware that this is obviously there's going to be a bit of tit for tat between the opposition of Canada and then the current government of Canada.
Yeah, look,
but
politics
this report
aside,
came from CSIS, right?
Yes.
Which is China. Canada's intelligence agency, right?
Now, yeah.
This report is not from a partisan source, right?
Here's the thing that really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Okay, so they find out. The Canadian intelligence finds out that these two Chinese scientists in Canada are leaking documents. Not only that, but they actually were synthesizing samples. I read the documents and sending pre-synthesized samples in that lab abroad to China out of the lab. They were sending not only like electronic information, but actual samples out of the lab all over the place, doing all of these things. They broke so many laws, so many intelligence laws. And you know what happened to them? They were fired. That's it. And they don't know where they are now. I mean, can we just think about this? This is potentially linked to the entire outbreak of COVID. Potentially. I'm just saying. Yeah. Either way, it's about biological warfare. It's linked to biological warfare. It's linked to taking very bad contagious viruses and so on and sending them to China and giving them all of that information. Breaching trust. They lied about their connections to the Chinese government. They lied about it.
Often.
Yeah. Okay, all the time. And the repercussions for that were they were fired.
Yeah.
They were not arrested.
It's insane.
They were not put in jail. They were not deported. They were fired.
Right. Now, the most important thing, the most important takeaway is that the
Canada is like really got to fix this. That's
Yes.
the biggest important takeaway is like grow some teeth.
Canada's intelligence services did a great job by finding this
Yes.
out, and I would hope that in the future there's more transparency for the Canadian people when involving global matters like this.
This is huge.
Yeah.
Okay, this is potentially has massive ramifications. You never know where this led to.
Yes.
Right, and where this could lead to. But because of this breach by Canada, the PLA now has access to very deadly virological strains. Is that how you say it? Viruses, whatever you want to call them.
Virus.
Yeah, and that is not okay, Canada. That is not okay.
No.
You stop allowing this infiltration by the CCP because, you're a great country and you don't need to be run by the Chinese government and allow them to take over your entire society, your real estate market, and your universities and your government all at the same time. It's just not okay.
Chinese government we're talking about.
Yes.
Anyway,
not the people, of course, the government.
Let us not dwell too much. Let us move on to the Q&A.
Yeah, okay, guys, it's Yamcha. It's Friday. Come on, it's time to relax. It's time to have some fun. All right? It's Friday after all. It's been a hell of a week.
It has.
Very happy to see the tail end of it.
Yes. But Agagon, thank you very much.